Looking at the section itself, Section 34, let's talk about the justice system in Trinidad and Tobago, ensuring that there's no ability to waver, to tamper, and to really ensure that justice prevails above all costs and there's no tampering. This all depends on the discretion of a judge, since the PI will no longer be in the mix?
Yes. First of all, it goes before a master for sufficiency hearing.
Right.
That is, the master will have a look at all the documents in the matter and make a determination as to whether there is a proper case to go to trial. Once that is the case, then the matter will go to trial in the ordinary way before a High Court judge. So there is that check and balance. I mean, it is a very good move in my view, because it will help to move our criminal justice system along more efficiently and in a way that is more productive and beneficial to the society. So
maybe we just don't trust the officials being put there, or the people charged with the responsibility of implementing this.
Well, then who do we trust?
The public is really concerned about the timeline, and let's talk about the extradition and this entire matter. And we keep bringing it back to the timeline because everyone accepts what took place, that the entire parliament voted. It's only, I think, coming around the second round, a few independent senators objected to it. But the AG's actions, the extradition case, all of that, it kind of doesn't all make sense. It doesn't all fall into pieces. And sometimes we are quite a suspicious population, and rightfully so. Let's take the conspiracy theory out of it. Sometimes it just doesn't add up.
Well, the conspiracy theory cannot make sense in any way whatsoever, because you would have to accept that the entire parliament, the government, the opposition, in the Senate, the independent senators, the government senators and the opposition senators all conspire to pass this section. And that just cannot make sense, right? I mean, I don't think anyone accepts that. So if you reject the conspiracy theory, then you have to go to impute some improper motive on the government. And how do you do that when the opposition unanimously, as well as the independent senators, unanimously supported this act? I must commend the Trinidad Guardian, because yesterday, in yesterday's edition, they had the timeline at the bottom of page 5. And what that shows is that on November the 8th, 2011, Justice Budu Singh gave his decision quashing the warrant for extradition for the two individuals. I don't want to call names. I don't want to prejudice any matter. And then 3 days after, you had the bill being laid in Parliament and passed within a short time.
No, but that can't be a coincidence.
Yes, but hold on. Look at this. When Justice Budu Singh gave his decision, that was not done in secret. It was out in public. In fact, the opposition made heavy weather of the decision of Justice Budu Singh, as you might recall.
Right.
So then they make all of that noise, and then you go to the Parliament, and this bill is debated and passed unanimously without any serious expression of concern as to, look, what are we doing here? How is this act and this section going to affect the Piarco matter? And you have to remember, the Piarco matter is no ordinary matter in our legal landscape. It is a matter on which a general election was fought, right? This is the plum for the PNM. They campaigned on the issues arising out of this case. So how could they have unanimously supported the act? It has to be Hema, that no one realized the effect that this act was going to have on those matters.
But looking now as we move forward, a new Justice Minister was sworn in yesterday, and we have a couple of minutes to wrap this interview. The Section 34 fiasco, the Legal Reform Committee, the committee in which Prakash Ramraj chairs, he also came out in the public and distanced himself from it. Looking at all of the matters, all of the evidence that then emerged, why do we still continue to not trust the Attorney General or the Office of the Attorney General?
And that is my point. I can't say why, because I am seeing no evidence to show that there's reason to distrust the Attorney General on this issue. There's nothing at all. We're dealing with a piece of law, and we have to keep going back to that the House and the Senate unanimously passed.
Moving forward, a new Justice Minister has been sworn in. Section 34, clearing up the backlog, or dealing effectively with the backlog that's before the court system in Trinidad and Tobago. Obviously, something needs to be done. This was rejected by the population. What is the solution?
Well, to begin with, I think it is important for us to have some clearing of the backlog. The caseload, especially as it relates to all matters, is very heavy. It is doubtful whether the High Court will properly be able to quote with everything once taken from the Magistrates Court and put on the shoulders of the High Court. So there is need for some clearing of the backlog. Section 34 was good in its idea, but bad in its execution. There were a number of flaws with the section, in that it was wrong for an accused person or accused persons to be allowed to be released if the trial did not start within 10 years from the date of commission of the offense. That should have been 10 years from the date of charge. The reason being, a High Court judge has to have a discretion to take into account, number one, the reasons for the delays in the matter. Number two, the reason why the prosecution did not come upon the evidence in the matter before they in fact did.
Are you confident that High Court judges are beyond temptation? That our legal system can be fully trusted and that this can properly be implemented? We all understand the need to have things done, but now with the political directorate, the relationship between the executive, the judiciary, and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, how are we moving forward?
Well, I was a High Court judge.
Right, yes, you were.
For a while, between 2006 to 2007. And what I can say of all our honorable judges, their integrity is beyond question. And the population can have full confidence in our judiciary. And I say that without any concern as to the truth of that statement whatsoever.
Ms. Lau, we have a minute to wrap this interview. A new Justice Minister has been sworn in. Can the confidence in the judicial system be restored?
Yes, I think so. Ms. Crystalline Moore, I know her. We were in class together. She has always been a very disciplined, focused, hardworking student. And that discipline, hard work, and focus continued in her years in practice. She's an excellent attorney. I know that she will do well, and the judiciary will have every confidence in her and have a very productive years working with her.
The judiciary, confidence in the system. And speaking on confidence, well, the budget is going to be delivered on Monday. Will 2012 deficit be higher than 2011? TNT must move 20 spots on the Global Competitiveness Index. Can we do it? Joining us next, Jerry Brooks, Chief Operating Officer of the Anson McCall Group of Companies, one of the Caribbean's largest conglomerates. What does he think about the possibilities of the next year? Stay with us.